Migration and racialization together shape the experience and identity of Asians in the US. The compounding effect of migration and racialization come together in the 1965 Hart-Celler Act, which effectively repealed the 1882 Chinese Exclusion Act through two specific conditions. Migrants from Asia were allowed legal entry to the US during the mid 1960s through the criteria of skilled labor and family reunification. Skilled labor often requires higher levels of education or professional skill. The reason why so many Asian immigrants to the US after 1965 have college or graduate degrees has less to do with how smart and hardworking Asians are, a racial stereotype known as the model minority myth, and more to do with a specific piece of US federal legislation that hyper selected, highly educated, and professional skilled laborers needed to supercharge the technology boom of the 1960s with the race to the moon and nationwide economic investment in the building of computer technology. It is not as if most folks in China or India at the time were good at math. The vast majority from places such as China or India were peasants or farmers and not science and technology laborers. This racialized form of hyper selective migration then has downstream effects upon the kinds of Asian churches that exist today, such as those churches with highly educated church members who are upper middle class. If you wonder why so many of our Asian churches in the US have a disproportionate number of engineers, scientists, doctors, nurses, and tech folks, you can trace the origins back to the skilled labor criterion of the 1965 Hart-Celler Act. Alternatively, and this is quite important given the class diversity of Asian America, migration patterns related to family reunification or refugee experiences also affect church life in different ways, with Asian churches in urban contexts serving undocumented workers, restaurant employees, small business laborers, etc. The larger point here is to understand how the structures of migration and racialization affect Asian family and church life in the US.